then you need to do it for the rest 90%. We never done it that way. You just blend it in.
We do blend it in.
Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna do it, my point is, if you're gonna do it for the 10%, why didn't you do it for the 90%? We don't do it that way. Why change horses in the middle of the stream? Why don't we blend it in as we do in each budget unit as you go forward? And have it, instead of having a separate line item like it's a debt.
Well,
I mean, if it was good enough to do the 90%, isn't it good enough to do the same way for the other 10%?
you know, I think part of it has to do with different ways of looking at the budget. And one of the ways in which we look at the budget is, what was it the year before? What are the increased costs for this year? And we look at that difference, and then we say, do we have increases in revenues that cover that difference? That's kind of one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is looking at the total budget. And certainly when you get your budget book, what you see there is are all the totals of things. So it's just different ways of presenting the same information.
One final comment. I oppose that move for the simple reason that we're one of the few counties that's funding our pension obligation at 90% actuarial rate. I mean, it's very sound business practices. But it also cuts your level of service too, because this money that you're throwing in the retirement system, you don't have the services. So I didn't think it was necessary to fund that last 10%, but the board will actually do that. Of course, in the past, it was when the 90 million was done, it was a real great financial move because I think the county borrowed the money for about 3.5%, and the retirement system reinvested it out for double-digit returns. So it was that was a real fine. But on the service side, that's money that and if you look around the other 57 counties in the state, hardly any of them have funded their actuarial and retirement system to the 90% level. Look at the state. Look at CalSPERS. Everybody's resigning from that organization because they're afraid it's going to hit the wall.
Well, I think one of the things that's changed is that there's been a lot of attention paid to retirement systems and retiree health by GASB, which is General Accounting Standard Government Accounting Standards Bureau. And as they focus more attention on that, then what happens is this information becomes available publicly, financially, etc. As it becomes available publicly and as financial information, then what you get are the credit rating bureaus, etc., taking that into account. So the move overall is to have greater transparency in government financing and government budgeting, but it definitely plays into the financial markets because what once was an acceptable level of funding at 90% or even lower is no longer considered acceptable. And that's really just been in the last couple of years. And it's like Linda Klauser and I went to training on retiree health because the same thing is happening. They're saying you need to have funding for your future call on retiree health. You can't just pay as you go at this point. Now, there's no requirement that you fully fund that unfunded actuarial liability, that future debt that you have, but at least not right now. All they're saying right now is you need to figure out what your future debt is. But what will follow, and everybody's pretty sure this will follow, is once you know what your future debt is, then they're going to say, okay, if your debt is more than a certain amount, that affects your financial stability as an organization. We're going to count that in your credit rating. And then they will start making products available to help you refinance that. And all of a sudden you find yourself down the road. And so we need to be smart about it, but we do need to know what the numbers are and have a way of addressing it. Okay?
Yeah, let's continue on.
And those people that advise you to do that, they're all making a commission off in the meantime too.
Yeah, and this was a very good training because they acknowledged that aspect of it. So on budget reserves, just because this is another part of setting the budget, is the goal is 5% of general fund appropriations. Currently, and that target would be around $3 million. Currently, we're at $1.9 million. And what's proposed is no change at this time. This wasn't something we felt we could deal with in this next fiscal year. Contingency fund, it was 3% of general fund appropriations, or it should be 1.8 million. I I don't think the contingency fund is ever been over $1 million any of my time with the county. But the current is $600,000, although some of that was borrowed from Teeter, and due to the health of the fund balance, we have the expectation of paying that back. For this next year, we're proposing the contingency fund at $600,000 again. Part of that is going to be the insurance payment from Mill Creek, so that it will be available specifically for the Mill Creek project.
That's 600 plus 500.
Oh,
We projected the 500 from the insurance to go into
Ah.
contingency so the board can make decisions on what projects for the mill.
okay, so, you can't even see my little seal. Oh, well, there's supposed to be a seal here. Oh. And, I was looking for a picture of balancing, you know, and